I think that Tottenham played well in the game between the boxes. You know, I think the football was good. Could you be more demanding of them to try and think about how they could have got a goal against Arsenal? I could, but I genuinely want to give Arsenal credit for what they are and what they do. That's as good as you'll see in defensive shape. Honestly, really tough to break down. There were teams that I played against. The Mourinho Chelsea team was so difficult to score a goal against. Scoring a goal against them was a monumental ask. And it's becoming, I know Arsenal do concede goals, but it's becoming really tough to get a chance, let alone a goal. So focus will come on Solanke in the first half, a £60 million striker. And that's definitely one where his first touch has to be better. Out of his feet, bang. Really decisive. Not quite happening for him at the moment in front of the goal and what's happening for him in terms of goals. But there were parts of his game today that were really good. So I don't want to go in too hard on Spurs because of the way in which Arsenal defend. I would like to see the ball being recycled to be able to work a position to deliver into the box so that you get bodies in the box and then something happens. They did put some crosses into the box, and I think at times they caused a couple of problems for Arsenal's defence, and Arsenal defended a lot of the crosses well too. There were times where I felt as though they recycle it and then they're trying to push through these sort of really narrow spaces and these really narrow sort of pathways that Arsenal leave you in the middle of the pitch because they're so compact and tight. And I get the fact that you almost want to keep probing there to open space up wide, but I'd feel more comfortable with Maddison. He did it once in the second half later on where he just widens his position a little bit and starts to put crosses in from that side, which might then mean that Arsenal's midfield have to adjust or some of their wide players have to get drawn out. I've not watched the game back, and sometimes you watch a game, it isn't how you imagine it, but my gut feeling in the game was that the wide areas were what could have been exploited. I thought Ben White might have just felt a little bit 2 weeks without playing. Sometimes I remember being in that position. You can sometimes feel a little bit undercooked. So maybe the song could have been fed a little bit more to go at him, and he wasn't. So for me, that's the one thing that I would say. But I'm not going to be too critical of Spurs because I think generally they played a good game. One thing they do have to answer is the fact that they have a poor set-piece record. Romero, it's poor defending. He's poor defending. He's got to stay tight to Gabriel. I will go hard on the goalkeeper in the sense of I played with dominant goalkeepers and I played with not so dominant goalkeepers. It's an absolute breath of fresh air and a must for me to have a goalkeeper that's brave. Now, I thought he actually started deeper on the line, and actually when I watched the replay in commentary on the rerun of it, he was a yard or so off his line, but he was getting involved in the get him out the way and come. That ball lands 3 or 4 yards in your zone. I'm not having this idea that keepers get blocked. The great goalkeepers, the best goalkeepers, if they get blocked, it's a foul. If they get blocked coming out, they normally get a whistle will go. He has to come out there for me and punch that. He has to help Romero. And that's an expectation of me as a defender, that my goalkeeper has to come out and catch it or punch it if it's 3-4 yards out in the centre of the goal. I don't care how it's being played in. Your starting position should be 1 or 2 yards out. You should just be able to step, jump and catch or punch. And the idea that he gets involved all the time, he's always sort of like, he's pontificating, Vicario. He's always whinging before the ball comes in. His arms are everywhere. He's a bit frantic. I don't want to see that.
Do you think, forgive me for interrupting, but it's only just occurred to me, there was one in the first half, wasn't there?
Yeah.
When he did come to punch and didn't get that. Do you think that plays into his mindset in the second half?
Yeah.
He thinks maybe I'm better staying put.
It does, but the best goalkeepers will come the odd time and flap and miss, but that doesn't stop them doing the right thing the next time. You're right, there was the one he flapped at, and then the one after that, Raheem Sterling played short, and he lost his composure for about 30 seconds, Vicario, because he was like this. No. Sometimes if I got emotional in a game, which I did, and I remember Sir Alex saying to me, the boss at the end of the game, Gary, I don't want emotional defenders. He's right, but you don't want an emotional goalkeeper, in my opinion. You don't. You want calmness. It's a rock. It's your last line of defence. For me, I don't want them shouting and putting their arms everywhere and being frantic and being anxious, because I think it creates anxiety in the crowd. I think it creates anxiety in the defenders. And I just wanted him to be more dominant. And I wanted him to be more dominant. And they were always going to score from a set piece if they were going to score, because I don't think they created that much, Arsenal. And I'm going on a little bit now, but I feel passionately about this. You've got to come and catch that ball or punch it. That is your ball. As much as Romero should do a better job defensively, that's the keeper's ball, in my opinion.